What about, Ash, Woman of the Year? Who was Woman of the Year for you?
Part of me wants to say Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wants to say Rhea.
I see that. Well, it's very WWE orientated, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Jade, you've been undefeated the whole year, but...
Jade's a good contender for it. The only thing I'd say about Jade is that
it's kind of gone...
She looks great.
Yeah, but it's kind of like losing steam a little bit.
Not her fault.
No.
Not her fault. But who, eventually you're going to run out of people to put her up against. That's the issue when you've got two women's championships.
And there's been times where it felt like it should have ended like Athena.
3 actually.
Athena should have been one, or maybe not tied before she turned, but there's not been that. It's just not given her.
I think Jade's had a really good year, and think about everything we've been saying about AEW. Anyone that's had a really good year in AEW in 2022 is probably elevated slightly more just because of how overall bad of a year AEW's had. Yeah. In comparison to, and that's only by contrast because they've been everybody's like white hot babyface company for 2 to 3 years, and then it just sort of like comes crashing down and it hurts inside. I
can say the same thing about...
If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride.
I could say the same thing about Britt as well, where it's been like an up and down year, because it felt like when she was champion and then she beat Thunder... was it Revolution?
Yeah, Britt's almost been like a reserve this year, hasn't she? She's great. An absolute mainstay of the product. Again, it'd hurt without her on it.
And I'm a bit annoyed with Sheeta being the first challenger every time there's a new champion.
No, you say the same about Nyla with stuff as well, isn't it?
No,
Jade probably within AEW. I think though Jamie hates her again. Like we said, Jamie's great.
That's only for like
but for the year, exactly. I think if we're talking about the year, nobody in AEW stands out to me really. Nobody in Impact really stands out to me.
Jordan Grace has had a good year, but once again, like I said, I don't watch Impact, so I can't say
that. And that's the biggest problem. Is it's always going to be tricky for somebody from an Impact to kind of make something like that. And again, it's your own list, so you do it how you want. But like, it's based on eyes that are on that product and how big of a deal somebody's made to be.
I never know, but maybe because of the timing. Mandy Rose, because she had a good run as champion.
She's woman of the year for some.
Yeah. Roxanne Perez, from where she was at the beginning of the year to now.
Oh, sure. For me, you've already said the name. I'm going to give you my woman of the year. Mine is Bianca Belair.
I'll go for Bianca, actually.
I'm going to go Bianca Belair because from the booking standpoint of it, in terms of how she's presented, Rhea's had an incredible year, absolutely. And
but it's another...
Judgment Day would not be as good as it is without Rhea. However, exactly. Dom's really the factor into Judgment Day that's really changed it.
Not Finn Balor like they thought it would be.
No, but he might have a big year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But no, Bianca's had... Because what surprised me the most about it, and this is one of those things where like sometimes it's good to be wrong in wrestling, but even when I was like really kind of hardcore on NXT and Bianca was sort of just coming through, like you could always tell like she was super athletic.
Yeah,
she's built. She's just built. Her shoulders like boulders. She's like you can tell that she is a pure athlete. But there wasn't anything really there that was like, oh, she's gonna be like. I never ever saw like. That's going to be like one of the faces of the women's division to come.
Not at the beginning.
Not in a bad way, but I just didn't see it.
I'd say the first time I really took eyes on her was the build-up for Mania 35, I think it was. Well, 36. Whichever the first one with...
last year?
No, the first one in the pandemic.
Oh, it's 36 that would have been,
36?
Yeah.
35. Whichever
no.
one? 35. It was
36.
Whichever one. The first one in the pandemic before when there was no crowd.
Yeah, 36.
And the build up on NXT between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, and Bianca was in the ring as well because she was going to have a match with Rhea at the takeover before that Mania. And Rhea Ripley and Charlotte are just talking to each other, and Bianca's like, by the way, I'm here. I'm not invisible. That's the first time I'm doing this info. I'm going. I can see a star soon.
But that's what I mean. Like, it wasn't there for me when I was watching her as much in NXT. And you got to remember, I switched off a bit from the product as well for a couple years worth. Like from 2018, like the only thing I was even really watching then was NXT. But you know, for me, it was like where it really solidified was the match last year, Mania with Sasha.
Who?
But it is, man, and I've you know, for me that because that was still. We didn't do like an award thing like last year, but like I think last year that would have been a real strong contender for Match of the Year for so many different reasons, you know. But man, yeah, that was it for me. And I think this year she's just Bianca Belair is it. Like she's the EST like that. It's a gimmick, but it ain't.
No, it's true.
Like it's true. And I love watching her. So I said this before, like when we were saying like they show some of them like bits of like her life growing up, and I said, oh, that'd make a really good documentary. And then I was recently just watching WWE 24, and they're always really good.
Yeah.
But WWE 24's documentary from WrestleMania, believe it would have been
last year's.
Last year's, yeah.
They did one this year, did they?
It was, yeah. So it was last year's for her and Sasha. And the bits of her going through her life, man, how can you not get behind somebody like that that's come, you know, and then to be as good as they are, it's just crazy. And it also, I think, really should be helping to change people's minds, like my own as well, when it comes to bringing in people that aren't necessarily from the indie scene or a wrestling background. I think Bianca's proof that, like, you don't have to be you don't have to grow up like we have. Like, we've loved wrestling for our entire lives, like as kids. And the same as like a lot of the lifers in WWE, like they grew up watching wrestling, loved it as kids, and pursued their dreams to become pro wrestlers. And that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to come from the indies. You don't have to have been a lifelong. Bianca Belair wasn't. She said she wasn't. Her brother watched it more than she did. She wanted to run in track and compete in the Olympics. And you look at guys like Bobby Lashley and how great Bobby's doing. Bobby wasn't a lifelong fan. It's there, and you know, if the mindset is still that you have to be a lifelong wrestling fan to make it in the industry, otherwise, you know, because you know what wrestling's like. It's always tribalism, and we're always a bit, even as fans, like we're a bit kind of like, you know, don't touch our shit. Like we'll shit on it because we like wrestling, but don't you shit on it because you don't know shit about it. Like that's just how it is, isn't it? But for me, man, Bianca's just. She set a new bar, and it's going to be real tough to break that bar. But Woman of the Year for me, and for you.
Yeah,